Jessica with Olive Jess, and today I'm going to make black bean burger sliders with sweet potato buns. We preheat the oven to 400 to roast our potatoes. So while that's going, we can work on the rest of it. I used the air quotes on buns because they're really just roasted sweet potato slices. I cut these in slices, like big coins that are not too thin, not too thick. I want them to be able to cook up so they're soft enough to bite into, and you actually can tell that there's the sweet potato and not have them get crispy like a chip. That'll work. Sweet potatoes. There's a little hefty sprinkle like pepper. I always put salt and pepper at the very least on all of my roasted vegetables, so even though these are buns, they will still apply. And then I'm just coating them really well, making sure all that olive oil got on both sides. It sounds like a lot of steps, but it really isn't because we're using this, which is a Ninja blender slash kind of food processor. So it's gonna chop up the veggies really fast, and then we just have to cook them down in here so they soften up, because you don't want crunchy, hard, uncooked vegetables in your burger patties when they're finished cooking. And then we'll add the black beans to that, pulse it in here again, and then we'll make our shapes, and then we'll grill them again in the same skillet. So we're not really using that many different tools. Carrots, I use baby carrots because that's what we have on hand today. It's like a cupish, maybe half a cup of red onion. Some of this is chopped from a different recipe that I saved. These 2 cloves of garlic, and smash them really fast. I'm not gonna bother mincing them. That's why I like this thing. Maybe just some salt right now. It's also going to draw out the moisture, the salt will, and onions themselves have, especially have a lot of moisture in them, which can be good in some applications, but in these, we don't want them to be too wet because the patties will fall apart when we're trying to cook them. I cooked them for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, really not very long, just enough to like get the onion and garlic smelling really good. So we're going to throw this back in. Okay, timer has gone off. 15 minutes for the sweet potato buns. So I'm just gonna flip them. Oh yeah. All right, back in. 15 minutes more. And while they finish, we're gonna finish the burger patties. So I put the sauteed veggies back in here, and these are 2 cans of black beans. See how they're kind of split open? I put them in the oven on a sheet pan, the same sheet pan I have the sweet potatoes on right now, in fact. No oil, just drained the cans of beans really well, and then and didn't rinse them either. And then I spread them out in an even thin layer all over the sheet and popped them in the oven for 15 minutes at 325. And then I set them aside to cool and came back to them later. And this method dries them out just enough that they don't get too mushy. Pour these in carefully. I'm actually going to leave some of them whole and leave those out, and I'll mix them near the end. Some fresh cilantro, and I'm even going to throw the stems in because they have so much flavor and the stems aren't always used. If they feel tender and like pliable like this. This is probably like half a cup. I love cilantro, so I'll probably use more. And if you don't like cilantro, you don't have to use it. I know some people think it tastes like soap. Yeah, this is definitely more than half a cup. But do at least half a cup. About a tablespoon of tomato paste. You could also use ketchup if you needed to, if you didn't have any tomato paste on hand, or you could do it out of a tube. This is from a can, and what I like to do is take extra and put it into those flexible silicone ice cube trays and freeze it. And then whenever I need a tablespoon or 2, I'll just pop out a cube from the freezer. Currently with the tomato paste as is, this recipe is vegan for these black bean burgers too. I'm probably gonna put cheese on them because I'm not vegan, but if you were to mint the cheese, they'd be vegan. The tomato paste still adds a ton of depth of flavor, and you could also add something like Worcestershire sauce if you are also not vegan. This has fish anchovies in it, which is why it has that really deep, salty, rich flavor. Like I said, you could also add ketchup if you didn't have tomato paste or just wanted the like sweeter flavor of ketchup. But we're gonna stick with the tomato paste, and we're gonna do sort of a chipotle spice, but not make it too spicy. I want to make spicy mayo and put on them after. I'm gonna put in a bunch of chili powder. It's like maybe like a tablespoon. Taste your chili powder before you put it in. Chili powder is a blend of chili flakes and often other things. This one has It just says chili pepper and other spices, salt, garlic powder. Some of them can be really spicy. Same thing with the chipotle chili. Use sparingly, and you can always add more. You can't take it away, just like too much salt. Maybe a teaspoon. Cumin, which is my favorite. It's just like a zesty seasoning or a seed that is used in a lot of Mexican cuisine and Indian, and it's a little smoky, and I think it's delicious. Maybe 2 teaspoons of that. I had to put my hair up because I'm dying in here. It's like a sauna. I am actually going to put a little shake of the Worcestershire sauce in too. I'm going to add a squeeze of ketchup just to help it emulsify a little bit more. I probably would have added 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, but I think that was the last one. This is real home cooking, not a professional. I can see it blending together in the bottom. It's just not coming together. So see that like pasty stuff in the bottom, which is excellent. That's what we want. We got to give it a good stir because it's just stuck. And it's partially could be because of the blades, where the placement of the blades is. That's not getting all of the contents. And then ideally, you clump it together like that. There's enough moisture. It'll hold together and not fall apart, which is what we want. I'm going to throw the remaining beans in whole and give them a good stir, just so there's a little more texture and variation in the patties themselves. So 2 cans could easily make 1 can of beans serves 3.5 people. So if you did the math, 2 cans would be 7 people. This should make 8-ish burgers. And watch, I'm going to put these on the pan and I'm going to get 4 total. So don't quote me. The same skillet as earlier. I didn't bother cleaning it because it's just for me and my fun friend. It's not even a tablespoon of olive oil. You know what? Those were in there long enough. I am going to turn this off because there's less than a minute on my timer. I'm going to take about a 1/2 cup-ish and form these into patties. They're about 1/2 inch thick. So I formed all the patties. It made 7 with my eyeballing measurements. So cooking allows me to be more intuitive and more improvisational, and often the results are just fine even if you didn't follow the recipe exactly as it was written or created. But we're gonna just let these cook for a few minutes, maybe 3-ish minutes, and then we'll check and see if we need to flip them. Right before we finish cooking them, we'll put some cheese. I sliced up the ends of our white cheddar. It's just sharp white cheddar. And I'm making a spicy, mostly mayo. It's mostly mayo with a little bit of ketchup and some chipotle. It's cooking. It's not a math test. So there aren't really any wrong answers as long as it's edible. Whatever you have in your pantry or your fridge or whatever you can find on the shelf at the store right now when things are, unpredictable. So I'm going to spread some of the sauce on burger with cheese. Maybe it'll be about 2 minutes on each side. That's all right. Patties, definitely ready. So I laid the cheese on here, and I actually turned the flame off. This pan is still super hot. I'm going to cover it again and let the residual heat melt that cheese for a few minutes. So it's just going to sit and chill. So I'm going to dress my buns now. A bit of a messy prospect, but all good burgers are messy, right? And then the other ingredient I want to add are my pickled onions. I made these earlier today. I will eat these out of the jar. Watch me. I like that there's a crunch in them still. We're going to come back to our burger patties. The cheese is nice and melted. Top burgers. There you go. They're vegetarian, gluten-free. They could be vegan if you wanted to make them vegan. They're pretty easy, and I think they're pretty tasty. It's very tasty. It's sweet and smoky, earthy, beany, nutty. I like it. Just enough spice, just enough tartness from the onion. And I hope you'll make these on your own. Try them out. Let me know what you think. Till next time. Thanks for joining me.